Introduction. The car the entire United Kingdom loves to hate. If you ever watched old Top Gear and heard Jeremy Clarkson screaming about the worst car in human history, 9 times out of 10 he was talking about the Morris Marina. Everyone hated it. Quentin Wilson called it the automotive equivalent of syphilis. James May once said he'd rather walk than drive one. In 2007, Top Gear readers officially voted it the worst car ever made. And yet, for 8 straight years between 1971 and 1979, it sat in the UK top 10 bestseller list. Over 1.2 million British people willingly handed over money for a car the entire country agreed was a dangerous, rusting pile of crap. That's not a paradox. That's pure, concentrated British masochism. British Leyland on life support. Late 1960s. The monster known as British Leyland Motor Corporation has just been born. Inside, Austin, Morris, Rover, Triumph, Jaguar, MG, 48 factories, 200,000 employees, strikes every Friday, and absolutely zero money. Lord Donald Stokes, chairman, gathers the engineers and gives them a brief that would make any sane person weep. We need a new mass-market family car to replace the ancient Morris Minor. It has to undercut the Ford Cortina, and it has to be on sale in 18 months. Budget? Laughable. New press tools? Forbidden. Use only what's already on the shelf. Basically, build a new car out of the skip. Roy Haynes and Project ADO28, how we almost got a decent car. They put Roy Haynes in charge, the same man who, 12 months earlier, had penned one of the best-selling cars of the decade, the Ford Cortina Mark III. Haynes starts with a clean sheet and produces a genuinely handsome, modern body. Clean lines, Coke bottle hips, low waistline, short overhangs. On the clay model, it looked like a British BMW 02 series. It was beautiful. It was contemporary. It was far too expensive to make. The BL engineers looked at it, scratched their heads, and delivered the immortal line. "Very nice, Roy. Now let's build it out of 1950s parts because we're skint." The Great British Compromise. What they actually bolted together. The final car was so cynical it still brings tears to engineers' eyes 50 years later. Front suspension. Straight off the 1954 Morris Minor. Rear suspension. Leaf springs and live axle, also 1954 Minor. B-Series engines, lifted from the Austin Maxi. Gearbox, Triumph Dolomite. Steering, Austin 1100. Brakes, same. Chassis rails, shortened Morris Oxford Series 6 items from 1960. Even the door handles were old stock. Of Roy Haynes' original design, only the silhouette and the door apertures remained. Everything else was a compromise to save 50 pence per car. Launch day. Looks, prices, and the first savage reviews. March 1971. Geneva and London Motor Shows. The Morris Marina is unveiled in saloon and coupe form, with 1.3 and 1.8 engines, priced from £845. A Cortina 1600 cost roughly the same but already had McPherson struts and looked like a 1970s car. The Marina looked odd. Long bonnet, high waistline, separate wings, chrome bumpers. In a world that had moved on to wedge-shaped Citroën GSS and Alfa suds, the Marina looked like a design that had been locked in a drawer since 1965. BL's proud slogan, "The new driving force from British Leyland." The press instantly renamed it the new driving farce. Engines, gearboxes, and the one version that was actually quick. Base engine. The 1.3A series, familiar from the Mini, giving a leisurely 57 horsepower. The 1.8B series was far better, 83 horsepower, torquey and willing. In 1972 came the 1.8TC with twin SU carbs, 95 horsepower and genuinely brisk. But the real hero arrived in 1975, the Marina 2600TC with the 2.6-liter straight-six from the Austin 2200. 123 horsepower, 106 miles per hour top speed, 0 to 60 in 10.5 seconds. In 1975, that made it a proper British muscle car for men who smelled of hay and hated Germans. 1954 suspension in a 1971 car. Why, the Marina actively tried to kill you. Now the scary bit. Leaf spring rear suspension and a live axle from 1954 in a car launched in 1971 wasn't just outdated, it was criminal. On a straight road, the Marina was fine. Enter a corner above 60 kilometers per hour and the following happened. The rear end paused for half a second, then stepped out violently. The car jackknifed onto two wheels and then rolled onto its roof. Journalists nicknamed it the skip on wheels. Any sudden maneuver above 50 miles per hour was Russian roulette with 5 rounds in the cylinder. The infamous 1972 Motor Magazine rollover test plus the truth about rust. The most famous incident came in 1972 during Motor Magazine's Moose test, sudden lane change at 100 kilometers per hour. Ford Cortina, perfect. Vauxhall Victor, fine. Morris Marina, rolled onto its roof. Take 2, rolled again. Take 3, the cameraman refused to get in and filmed from the verge. The footage still circulates today. Sales dropped 30% overnight. BL's response? An internal memo to dealers. Do not lend Marinas to journalists. Second fatal flaw, rust. The steel was paper-thin and the rust protection non-existent. After 3 British winters, the sills were lace, the wings fell off, and you could put your finger through the boot floor. 1970s joke. How do you know your Marina is 10 years old? It still has sills. Coupes, estates, pickups, the Ital and weird export specials. There were bright spots. The 2-door coupe in 1.8 HL spec looked genuinely pretty, especially in blaze orange or lime flower green. The estate had a huge boot and was adored by taxi drivers. In Australia, New Zealand, and South Africa, they built pickups and vans. Those are the versions still alive in the biggest numbers today. 1975 brought a mild facelift with new bumpers and square headlights. In 1980 came the Morris Ital, a deep restyle by Giorgetto Giugiaro himself, with new wings, plastic bumpers, and a modern rear end. Final Itals were built in Italy until 1984 under the Innocenti name. Weirdest variant, the South African Marina with a 4.1-liter Australian Holden straight-six. Conclusion: why, in 2024, I would still buy one tomorrow. Total production: 1,198,422 Marinas plus 175,000 Itals. Today, fewer than 400 remain registered in the UK. A good 1973 to 76 coupe costs £8,000 to £12,000. A mint 6-cylinder TC can reach £20,000. And you know what? I'd have one tomorrow, without hesitation, just to drive an empty Yorkshire road at dusk, wind all the windows down, play The Sweet on a knackered cassette, and feel this stupid, rusty, dangerous, beautiful old heap carry me through the mist. Because the Morris Marina isn't just a bad car. It's a monument to the time when British Leyland was still swinging, even though the fight was already lost. It was slow, it rusted, it was ugly, and it tried to kill you. But it was ours, and in that there is something painfully, perfectly British.